So my name is Aram. I am right now a principal engineer in a company called Zoomcar in Bangalore. So आज को presentation, I'm just going to talk about the journey that I've had so far through my career so far, and after that we can just make it a Q&A session and we can just discuss anything that you want. So the purpose was just to get to know all of you and kind of let's see where this leads to. So there is no agenda as such. So as I said, obviously I'm from Nepal. So my parents were from Argakhanchi in Nepal. Right now they stay in Bhusal and we are Kathmandu. And currently my day job is in a self-drive company called Zoomcar. So basically you just rent a car, you can take it anywhere you want, and you will pay for it. So that's the basic model that is out there. So I'm a principal engineer there, leading a team of almost 20 people. So if I have to give you a brief about myself, I was born and brought up in Iran. I was in Iran for 16 years of my life, alumnus of Kendriya Vidyalaya, which is one of the Indian schools in Tehran. After that, I did my +1 and +2 from Delhi. After that, I graduated from IIIT Allahabad. It's one of the premium engineering colleges in India. And after that, I have been like in Bangalore doing various stuff that we will come to. I've been coding since I was 11 years old. I started with Visual C++6 and I had created some crazy desktop apps at that time, and then I got my hands dirty with HTML, CSS, Flash, and all of those things that you can remember with GeoCities and all of those things that used to be there. So played with all of that, but I always loved coding. And if I look at today, what I am doing today, most of the time I'm doing Ruby, because Ruby is the most amazing language that we all know. I also work with Elixir. How many people have heard of Elixir? Nice, really nice. So Elixir is basically, if you know Ruby, learning Elixir is way more easier. It's a functional programming language. Erlang is again an amazing functional programming language, which I am kind of getting more well versed with. And I've also worked on Python, JS, HTML, CSS, and a lot of other stuff, which shows that I just love technology.
I'm happy you have a bhusal.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do I do in a nutshell? So what has been my journey so far? It's been like a very different kind of a journey. So I kind of started with a job. So after my college, I was in a job for 1 year in a company called Puliza in Bangalore. I became a senior engineer over there within a year, and I just felt that nah, this is not what I want to do. It just did not feel right that within a year I'm getting promoted to a senior engineer, and the kind of work I was doing, I was like, if I'm getting into a senior engineer in a year, I don't know in 2 years what I'm going to become. I did not want that journey. So then I joined a startup, and let's say that my experience was terrible over there. I left it within 10 days. And that day I swore to God that I'm never ever going to do a job. I'll only report to myself. No more bosses for me. So I was a consultant for almost 3 years after that. I worked with some of the best startups in India, which are many of them are right now in the valley. Even today, the lines of code that I have written are the basic foundations on which those startups are going. After being a consultant for 3 years, I thought that what is the next thing that I can do after this is that let's do my own startup. So I did my own startup for a couple of years. Then during that time, I think I learned the importance of sales and business, that being an engineer is not enough.
Also the capital.
Yeah, also the capital. And I did my startup, I crashed and burned. After that, I was like, okay, enough of this thing. Then I joined another company, and I was the CTO of that company for some time. I worked with the largest banks, largest airlines in India. And then I again went back to consulting. This time I was at a much senior level. I was no more one of those guys who was only doing tech. So I had a whole team to manage. I worked with some of the biggest publications in the world, with the governments and all. And it was like a completely different experience. And after that, currently again I went back to a job after almost a decade of working on various stuff. So if I have to talk about my first year, this is what it was about. How many people remember BlackBerry? So I had actually worked on a BlackBerry app, which was like a Snapchat. Basically, if you have a wife, so the requirement document said if you have I have a wife and a girlfriend, they should not know what I'm messaging each one of them. So that was the basic requirement. Imagine a client paying for that. So the good thing was that we built it using Java and BlackBerry. That was my first stint with a professional program. And then obviously I was exposed to Ruby from day one and I fell in love with it. So we have got enough, everybody's a Ruby programmer, right? Almost? Yeah. So Ruby was the programming language that made me fall in love with programming, because we all know that Ruby makes all of us happy. And I had the misfortune of starting my career with Rails rather than Ruby. So that is something that I always tell people, that do not start with Rails, start with Ruby. So, but still, thankfully, after I kind of went out of my job, I realized the importance of Ruby, and I started doing way more core Ruby programming. Then I decided, as I said, that I have to do consulting. Now, what is consulting? Consulting is like I had my own clients. So one of the best experiences for me was the flexible hours. I had my clients in US, I had my clients in Europe and everywhere. Because of that, I could just work anytime I want. Once on a Monday, I went for a 2,000-kilometer road trip. I could not do that with a day job. But the funny thing is that I would have to take all the calls while driving, but still, that was a lot of fun. And I could travel a lot more because obviously my clients were spread all over the globe. I used to go to Singapore, I used to go to US, I used to go to Europe and kind of meet all of my clients. And one of the most important experiences for me was the technologies. So if you looked at my first job, I was mostly a developer. I could not do anything else. But while I was doing consulting, I had completely increased the horizon of technologies that I was working with. Because I was the one-man army, if anybody said that, hey, I want to set up a shop for, let's say, an e-commerce setup, I would not say that, hey, why don't you hire a front-end guy, DevOps guy, because I would be the one-man army who was supporting the whole spectrum. And that actually exposed me to the whole variety of technology, whole breadth of technology that is there to learn. And it made me appreciate how amazing technologies are. And obviously, you get to meet a lot of interesting people. I met a couple of people who were like the people who took InMobi to be around 2000x. You guys know InMobi by any chance? Okay, InMobi, you know Google AdWords? So just like Google AdWords, one of my clients, what he had done is that they used to serve ads and they became the biggest competitors to Google AdWords. So a lot of advertisements that you see today are served by InMobi. So they actually scaled to almost 2000x, and working with that kind of people, the kind of conversations you have is completely different, because I used to tell them that, dude, I don't think your server can handle this. He's like, no problem. We can just pump in more money and we can get this server, and why don't you do this? Because he'd already seen scale and he understood what we mean when we say scale. And obviously there is a network effect. The best part is that the kind of people you meet and you start appreciating, it's just tremendous learning all over the way. And one of the most important things I learned was being your own salesman. So because consulting garni mein na ke uncha bani, there is nobody else who will say that not anybody else who is gonna get you projects. You go, you pitch, and you get the projects. So that's the whole fun of consulting, that you are on your own. And because of my consulting stint, I met with a lot of interesting people in Columbia, UCLA, UCS, in NSU. So all of these people, the profs over there, the alumni over there, the kind of people you meet, it is like very varied. And I think that is one of my biggest learnings of this period, is that the kind of people that you get to work with and you get to learn. As I said, it was not only Ruby that I was doing. For 3 years, I had a complete Python experience as well. So because I was doing a lot of stuff around a little bit of, you cannot call it NLP, but there was some kind of intelligence that was out there. So there was some level of intelligence that we did with that, and then I kind of had a client an educational institute who wanted on the fly their content to be encrypted and decrypted using AES, which is one of the encryption algorithms. I could kind of actually make it way more efficient, and it was a lot of fun. And at the same time, it was that I could manage the whole automation stack of AWS, Linode, DigitalOcean, all of these various providers that are there. I could kind of work with Chef, Ansible, do all of the provisioning. So I think that is the kind of experience which made me realize that how important having a breadth of technology is. It's not only about being the experts in one field. The more and more you are exposed to other fields of technology, it makes you a better engineer, and that is how I did. Then stage 3, I was like, I have done enough consulting, now it's time to do my own stuff. That is when I started my own company called Cloud. We were basically a content aggregator and a content publishing platform. So to give you an example, we would take all of the contents that you have created, we would take all the contents that your competitors have created. Especially we would kind of create a content that you should create, and that was a very intelligent platform that we had developed. And this was before microservices was a buzzword. So at that time, nobody used to say that we are going to create microservices, monoliths are bad. Nobody used to say that shit. Everybody wanted to have good code. But unknowingly, what we did was that we built all the stuff around NLP and ML in Python. We had all the data crunching in Java. Ruby obviously was the main platform, and JavaScript for everything front end, because you could, with a click of a button, make everything to be personalized, and everything would be like according to the brand. And we got praises from the best businesses. We had ThoughtWorks as one of our clients. We had Dell Services as one of our clients. We had a couple of Hong Kong businesses which were our clients. But at the end of the day, we crashed and burned like a startup because we did not get much funding. But the tech learning was crazy, and I think because of that, the kind of experiences I got was like amazing. So then after that, I joined as a CTO of a company called Poshmind, in which we were doing loyalty programs for banks, for airlines, and everybody. So you could kind of you use your miles and go to a restaurant and have dinner. All of that you see over there was powered by a single application for banks, for airlines, for everyone. So actually, I gave a talk in RubyConf India 2018 about multi-tenant applications. How many of you understand multi-tenant applications? Okay, so basically, multi-tenant application means that you have one specific application and different. Imagine that there is a huge building. Each floor is for one client, right? So imagine your whole building is an apartment. Your whole app is an apartment, and each floor belongs to somebody. Let's say the first floor belongs to Nepal Airlines, the second belongs to investment bank, and imagine all of them are going to use the same technology, same stack, and the only difference is that you're exposing the APIs, but at the database level, at the application layer level, using your middleware, you are extracting all the information from the requests and kind of delegating it to the correct tenant that is there, the correct floor in that apartment. So I had given a complete talk in that, and this was a big learning for me because I worked with the biggest banks, with the biggest airlines in the country, in India, and that was a completely amazing experience that we had over there. And after that, I again went to consulting. As I said, I was with one of the biggest publishers in the world, and that kind of made me realize how much I love working with people. So because I used to work with huge teams, and in fact, the scale of the projects was so crazy. But at the end of the day, when I go today to those publishing houses and see my product is actually powering the multimedia plugin in that publication, it's really a source of pride for me. So so there was a assignment that we had for White House also, in which we were kind of working with the science and technology division of them. So the whole platform, the whole API infrastructure that was built by us, a team of only 15 people. And that was crazy. That is when I realized that the power of technology, and as long as a team is working together, how you can do it. My latest avatar, I'm actually a principal engineer in Zoomcar, which means that I have a team under me. I lead a whole vertical in Zoomcar, in which we help you subscribe a car. This was supposed to be an advertisement, so I don't think we have internet right now. Maybe I'll show it after the talk. Yeah, I haven't fixed it yet. So this advertisement was launched last year. If any of you watch web series, Indian web series by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah, so you must have seen somewhere that Zoomcar is being plugged in. So a lot of the ad by Zoomcar is around this product. So basically, what I do, so just to give you an idea of what Zap does, Zap is like Zoomcar Associate Program, is that you subscribe for a car, just like you subscribe for a magazine, you subscribe for a car, let's say in India, for a Swift it costs you 20,000 rupees per month. Now you keep it in front of your house, and if you list it again on Zoomcar, somebody will come and pick up the car. But the best part is that all of that is automated. You don't have to do anything. The person will come through the mobile app, unlock the car using Bluetooth, because we kind of go with the Bluetooth key exchange, and we right away unlock the car. You can then drive your car, and the customer will drive the car, bring it back to your house. And the best part is you get 75% of the revenue, and Zoomcar just gets 25%. So because of that, now a lot of customers, what they do is that during the week they use the car, in weekends they just put it on Zoomcar. It's a win-win for everybody. Our car is being used, and the associate, instead of paying 20,000, he might be paying 2,000, 3,000 rupees, and he has a car. He does not worry about insurance, he does not worry about the maintenance, because Zoomcar takes care of all of that. Now, so what does this mean is that we as via Zap are actually controlling the supply part of Zoomcar. So we are supplying all the cars that Zoomcar is giving to the customers. And the best part is that I am working with an amazing team of 20 people. We have a completely microservices architecture in Ruby, and we are also exploring Elixir and other functional programming languages to create various microservices according to the demand that is out there. But I think that is a lot of fun, because the kind of scale that we are working with the kind of real world problems we are working with. Because your category, it's a completely new category. Nobody else had done subscription the way Zoomcar has done. So one of the most interesting thing is that we recently migrated from Rails 4 to 5.2 completely. So it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys must have read the GitHub article. They also migrated from Rails 4 to Rails 5, and it took them, I think, 1.5 years. We were much faster, obviously. We did not have to worry like GitHub. But it was a tremendous learning experience, and right now we are in an architecture where moving to Rails 6, we are just waiting for Rails 6 to be a little less bloody bleeding edge. Then we will also move to Rails 6. But right now we are on Rails 5.2 and we are very happy. And this is when I realized that it's all about the people. So you want to work with people who make you happy. You want to work with a lot of smart people, and you want to just enjoy the work you are doing, and you realize the impact that you have. To give you an example, one day we had one bug due to which we realized that instead of 30 people, we could convert only a few people, let's say 5 people. And so one mistake that you do is completely on your face, because you see the impact of your mistakes. But the beautiful thing is that when you do it perfectly well, everything looks beautiful, because the system just works and you get all the feedback that is there in the world for you. So if I have to look at my highlights that I have done so far, is that I have mentored more than 20 people. So there is a Rails Girls program in Bangalore where we kind of take all the girls from all backgrounds and we teach them how to create a basic Ruby on Rails blog. So we do that from time to time. I have been a mentor over there, and I have also personally mentored a lot of people into Ruby, and it's always been fun because, as you all know, Ruby is one of the most open communities that is out here. And I also gave a talk in RubyConf India, as I said, around multi-tenant application. Obviously, I met Max in RubyConf 18. Just like we have our own selfies around that. And I have worked since Ruby 1.8 was there, and we were so happy that Rails 3.0 came. A lot of things were automated. So I have seen that happiness also. Now, I always want to, anytime I talk about Ruby, one of the things that always comes to my mind, which I hope somebody would tell me while I was starting Ruby, was that what would I tell myself if I was, let's say, 2010, 2011, when I started my career. So at that time I would say that Ruby community is one of the best communities in the world. So embrace that. So if you go to IRC, if you go anywhere, if you talk to anybody in the Ruby community, anywhere in the world, they are the most open people. So I would strongly encourage each of you to kind of make use of this network that is out there. And one of the most important books is read more books. There are some amazing books around Ruby. So we were discussing as Sandy Metz books. Just blindly go through them and you will be like amazed, because the more you read Ruby, the more you realize that what an amazing language it is. And if you feel that you know a lot, go to any conference. Go to an amazing conference, talk to people, you will meet some very smart people. And once you talk to them, you realize, oh God, I know nothing. So if somebody asks me today how much I rate myself on Ruby, I would say 3 out of 10, because I know there is so much to learn. So it's very important that you always are open to learning, meet more amazing people, and you will kind of know what an amazing place Ruby is. Yeah, so that's from my side. So I'm open to questions, discussions, anything.